just, when you've got two screens and then your mouse gets lost. Okay. So hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Tessa and I've just kind of come into the role of program coordinator for the Victorian Youth Parliament. So I'm really excited, and what I'm going to share with you is just the broad insight of what is the Victorian Youth Parliament, because I'm sure some people know what it is, some might not. So I'll kind of let you know a program overview, what the participants do, what our aims are, and then I'll kind of look at how to apply for Youth Parliament, what that looks like from your perspective as someone who works with young people. But basically, as an overall pitch, Youth Parliament is an opportunity for 120 young people to be supported in taking a solutions-based approach to an issue that they're passionate about within Victoria. They then debate this in the Youth Parliament, in the halls of Parliament House in Melbourne, and that is then passed on to relevant ministers. So it's a really good civic education and advocacy opportunity for our young people to get involved in. So participants are involved from mid-February until the start of July 2022, and we'll get into the exact dates in a little bit, but basically this is a good overview of what they are involved in at each step of the program. So for term 1 and 2 is, I guess, the beginning, the creation of their bill or their advocacy piece. So participants have a team of 6 that they I guess go through the program with and work with for the whole time. And in that team of 6, they will meet with a mentor from our task force of volunteers who have, experience in the area. And that mentor will be on the parliamentary training team. So we'll really be able to support those participants in learning how to create a bill, how to do the debates, how to do everything that they need to do in order to engage in that Parliament side of Youth Parliament. So through this time, through these meetings, they'll brainstorm and they'll select their bill topic, which will be based on something that they're passionate about as an advocacy piece or an issue within the state of Victoria. They'll write their bill, finalise their bill, and also be introduced to parliamentary debate structure and etiquette. So the debating style is a little bit different to maybe what they're used to. So how do we engage in this? What is the structure? What are we doing when we get into Parliament House? And all of that is basically to set it up for the training weekend, which is a residential camp, our first residential camp, which will be run from the 20th to the 22nd of May out at a Y campsite, Lake Dewar Lodge, which is in Murniong, which for anyone who's not familiar with unique little country towns is near Bacchus Marsh. And what they'll do on the training weekend is really get set up for the week of Youth Parliament. So they'll learn in a bit more depth how to debate their bills and be able to kind of practice debating with that parliamentary structure. They'll be able to extend their advocacy skills a little bit. They'll get an opportunity to be interviewed by a youth press gallery journalist who will then write an article on the team and on their bill and on why that's important. And they'll also be able to engage in other personal and professional development sessions. So we've got recreation sessions, which really draw on soft skills like teamwork, leadership, and like interpersonal awareness, I guess. And so that whole weekend really begins the, I guess, grassroots of connections with their peers who are really like-minded, and they're able to start forming that community of change makers. Which then takes us to the week of Youth Parliament, which I guess is the big part of the program. It's the crux of the program. That's going to run from the 26th of June till the 1st of July next year. And again, that will be at Lake Dewar Lodge. But for 3 days, so on the Monday, Tuesday and Thursday of that week, everyone will travel by bus from the campsite to Parliament House where the debates will be held. And for those debates, each team is able to engage in 10 or 11 debates. So it's a lot of opportunity to get their public speaking down and to really, get down into any experience that they want, any playing devil's advocate a lot of the time, because they do get given a stance on the bills, but at the end of the day, for each of the debates, they will be able to vote on the bills that other teams have created based on what they feel as a young person, and those outcomes, whether the bill passes or doesn't pass, is then passed on to the ministers as well. Participants are also able to give an adjournment speech, which is just another opportunity for them to raise an issue to the relevant MP about another issue that they're passionate about. It might be the same issue as they've created a bill on. It might be something different, but it's a nice short speech for them. And then back at campsite, there are even more personal and professional development sessions and social activities that they are able to engage in as well. And so I've included this slide on the outcomes that participants walk away from the program with. These are kind of the 5 main ones. So the first is obviously civic education. So a lot of the participants kind of walk away knowing democracy and voting and how our parliament system works, the bicameral system, and they get that real experiential opportunity to engage in that and know how a bill's created, how are they introduced into the parliament, and how do laws kind of come about and how does that work. Of course, you've got the public speaking experience, being able to write and deliver speeches in the debates. You've got the adjournment speeches that I just talked about. External advocacy. So we have a whole team called the Communications and Stakeholder Engagement team, and their job is to connect teams of young people to stakeholders in the issue of their bills. So that might be an MP, that might be another stakeholder, heads of not-for-profits, that sort of thing. And they can connect with those people, and they can have a meeting, discuss their bill, discuss their ideas, and have that real collaboration opportunity. Personal and professional development, again, so you've got those recreational sessions and other sessions to build up those soft skills, as well as further leadership opportunities. So we do have some opportunities like chamber leader, who, because teams kind of work in a larger chamber, they get that opportunity to lead and support other youth parliamentarians, as well as youth premier, which is a real figurehead role for participants, where one youth premier is elected, and they kind of have a lot more media and public facing opportunities as well. So the key information, I guess you need to know, there's a lot of writing on the screen. This is taken from the team application information pack. So at the very least, all of it is in there. But the main dates that I need to know, I said them before, but our 2 residential camps are the 20th to the 22nd of May and the 26th of June to the 1st of July. They will be held at Lake Dewar Lodge, sitting days at Parliament House. The cost is $4,880, and that's for the team of 6 participants. So that covers everything in the program, including meals and campsite and all of that. It just doesn't cover the cost of travel to and from the residential program, but it does cover the cost of travel within the program when we're going to Parliament House and back. There is some funding assistance available, and I'm happy to talk after YACVic to anyone who wants to look into that, and I can also help you with brainstorming ideas if you think that cost would be a barrier, brainstorming ideas of how to cover that for you and your team. And the youth parliamentarians are aged 16 to 25 years old, so anyone within that age range can participate. So if you are interested in applying, if you apply with a team of 6 people and you are successful, then you as a youth worker will take on the role of a resource person. And so as it says here, again, there's a lot of words, but as it says here, basically the resource person is the main support for the team of 6 young people, and they'll be involved in ensuring that the young people are attending the mentor meetings, assisting the team wherever they need, and also being our main point of contact if any issue arises with the team as well. So just that overall organisation and support structure for the young people. So for applying to participate on the program, applications are open now and they will close on Thursday, the 9th of December. To apply, you don't need a team of young people yet. You will just need 6 young people to be confirmed by the 15th of February. So successful and unsuccessful teams will be notified of the outcome of the application on the week of the 13th of December. So once you're successful, then if you would like, after that, you can start to bring on young people to that team. So you don't need any concrete young people yet. The applications are competitive. We get a lot of team applications and we've only got 20 spots. So the questions on the application form will help us to make an informed decision on the successful and unsuccessful teams. And basically those questions will tell us, firstly, do you have access to 6 young people to participate, as well as the demographics of your team. So when we look at the program as a whole, we want the participant base to be, I guess, reflective of Victoria as a whole. So have nice diverse representation across Victoria. And also the last one is whether you have that access to secure funding or whether you would like to apply for that funding support, which again, I'm happy to chat to anyone about afterwards. That's kind of a brief overview and I don't want to take up too much time, but all of this information and more is in the team application and information pack on our website. But are there any questions? And feel free to shout out or put your hand up or something like that.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tessa. That was a great introduction to the program. Folks, feel free to use the chat box to ask questions or use the reactions bar and pop your hand up or your thumb up if you can't find the hand. Tessa, Scarlett's put in the chat box there, will the support person need to be present at all the in-person activities and camps?
No, so great question. The resource person is there outside of the camps, but then the young people do go on the camps by themselves. On those camps, the kind of main supports are the task force who runs them. They'll be there for both the training weekend and the week of youth parliament. So our task force will kind of take on that role of support and supervision, I guess, over those residential camps. So the resource person will be outside of those residential components.
Yeah, great. That's good to know. And I think you mentioned this, but I missed it. After you've applied at the beginning of December, when do you find out if you then need to identify the young people by February? What's that timeline again?
Yep, so applications close on the 9th of December and then on the week of the 13th of December, so that last week of school, for anyone who's on a school time frame, we will send out the outcome of the applications, so successful or unsuccessful. And if you are successful, you will just need to send us back a confirmation of your participation by the 17th of December.
Oh yeah, great. And then so you've still got another 2 months almost to put the names of the team together. Great. Okay.
So sorry, Tessa, just to confirm, you can apply without knowing who your 6 young people might be.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
It's okay.
Good clarification, Katie. Any other questions people have got? You can turn your mic on, put your hand up, or use the chat box.
Yeah, I just had one question. So Tessa, you say there's 20 places. Is that for 20 young people or 20 teams?
20 teams. So it's 120 young people, but each team that applies will have 6 spots for young people.
No worries. And the 4,500 whatever cost is for your 6?
Yes. Yeah.
No worries. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? Are you sticking around for the rest of the meeting, Tessa, or have you got to jump off now?
I will unfortunately have to jump off, but I'm happy to take emails or anything, or get in contact with anyone outside of this as well.
Yeah, great. I mean, I copied you into the message that went out to the YPPN, so everyone should have your email address. Please feel free to follow up with Tessa if you need to. Thanks so much, Tessa. What we'll do is pop this video up on our YouTube channel so we can draw people's attention to it as well. Yeah, thank you so much for giving up your Thursday morning.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope to speak to you soon.
Great.